Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing your family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woods Rose Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text or call me at 402-525-0843. That's 402-525-0843.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartments, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, as always, starting at 3 p.m., at least for this week. We got Tristan Gomes, per usual, joining me for another Ticket Weeknights. You guys are always welcome to join in. We got Royals on the brick and mortar on the FM airwaves, so if you want to listen, Facebook, YouTube, XL, Channel 961, or go ahead and listen to the Ticket app if you don't have it already. Once again, I recommend downloading it. We're going to have a ton of great games, probably on that Ticket app. I keep mentioning it. I know we've talked about it before. Texas, Ohio State, that one's on there. I think I'm pretty positive we'll have that game on there on the Ticket app, along with plenty of others. And then especially when you get to some of those better leagues like Rivalry Week, you never know when you might need it. So that'll be the final thing I say about the Ticket app. Just download it. It doesn't cost you anything. And it's a great way to keep in tune with local content, maybe catch some college football, NFL games over the fall as well. All right, Tristan, how's it going on Wednesday, officially hump day?
Doing well. Made it to Wednesday, halfway through the week. Weather's not too bad here in Lincoln. A little hot, but doing well.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be done with the heat. It feels a little too cold. Like I'm a little nervous for it.
A little worried, yeah.
Because it's like usually it's still 90s pretty consistently, but I'm wearing a hoodie again in studio today. It's been pretty nice. I'm sure the guys at fall camp appreciate it, but nonetheless, we're not here to talk about the weather. First thing I want to talk about caught me off guard. John Cook, Supernova's co-owner.
Yep.
When he retired, did you think he would ever? Well, I guess what role did you think he would take after he retired? I shouldn't say retired, but in a way he did retire, not from coaching, but from coaching Nebraska. What do you think his next move would be, if any?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think there was a next move. I kind of expected him to, retire. Had a great career here at the University of Nebraska, just an absolute icon. And so I think a lot of volleyball fans thought, all right, kudos to him, great, send him a farewell, very happy for him. And then all of a sudden you see, oh, now he's invested in professional volleyball, which is up and coming, and the Supernovas are making big new moves, heading to a new league. I think it's pretty cool that he's sticking around, and I think he just makes such a great impact on the volleyball community, especially in Nebraska, that him being around is going to be great.
So, yeah, I thought it was kind of done for him as well, but I don't know what his drive is. I think I'd imagine the drive is like, I just want to keep growing the sport of like everything he did at Nebraska, and then fall's coming up again. Maybe he just kind of got the bug. Like I kind of do still want to be around this. So co-owner and GM, so he's going to be in charge of a lot. I think. Let's see. Yeah, he'll be leading the team, all team operations, including player and coaching staff signings. So he's their GM. He's pretty much the guy. He's co-owner, but he's going to be on top of which players we're bringing in. On top of it, just interesting for the Supernovas, and then you got Major League Volleyball, Pro Volleyball Federation that are going to be embracing on this merger. I know me and Jeffrey have talked about it. He's a little bit more knowledgeable, but do you think the iron's hot? Like this is the time to make the major push for pro volleyball to be a legitimate thing? And if so, how optimistic are you that we can get out of what has been the bumpy period of early professional volleyball where they tried, you had League One volleyball, who I think they've actually done it right so far, the best. Like they didn't expand too fast. They realized where are the fans at? The fans are in the Midwest. They really locked in on it. I think that's why they've had the least a bit of turmoil. The very clear goal of what they're trying to do. Pro Volleyball Federation, and then obviously Major League. You had the split with the Supernovas. They go, nobody follows them, and now it's like, okay, this isn't going to work. We're going to have to come together at the table. Are we over the roughness, the worst of it, I should say? There'll always be some more bumps. Or do you think it's still going to take quite a bit of time before pro volleyball really gets a foothold?
I think it might take a few more years, but I've been to a few Supernovas games, and there's definitely, fans there. There's people that are showing up and supporting them. And there's so many people that, one, love Nebraska volleyball, even just Big Ten volleyball in general. So these leagues, I think having a few multiple leagues has made it a little bit tough, but with the merger, I think that's going to be extremely beneficial. And bringing in John Cook for the Supernovas, I think is just a tremendous acquire by them as a GM, because think of how many coaches he knows. Think of how much staff. Think of, even just the trainers in the volleyball world that he knows. So when he does, continue to make a positive impact on the volleyball world, it's starting with the Supernovas, who are here in Omaha, who are the local team. So they're going to have some great success, having such a great mind behind all of it. And then also someone that's going to make sure that the game gets its kind of accolades and the people watching.
Yeah, that's the hope. And that's why I was a little bit surprising when the Supernovas first kind of left. It's like you guys are, and I get the idea of it, you guys feel like you're carrying the most water, the most weight. You hopping into the league, though, I don't think was ever going to help your situation. Like, I understand that, what was it, year one? I think the Pro Volleyball Federation only had like 7 teams. That's not going to pop off right away. You're probably, and maybe they hit a little bit more under their margins as the league as a whole. I think the Supernovas probably did well with their ticket sales. Obviously, they got to host that first championship because they won in terms of average attendance. But I wonder if like maybe the average profit off of the entire league was low and they just a little bit of a panic.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I think wrong move, new league, stay patient. You guys are the ones that are going to have to carry it, but that should rightfully be so. I mean, Nebraska's kind of been the volleyball hub. Yeah, it's expecting a lot. Like if you're the one that's doing the most and you're surprised by it, I don't know what to tell you. Like if you're the Omaha team, you're probably going to do the most well in terms of just getting attendance numbers. And then I think they won it that first year as well. So they had it on top, and then whole thing fell apart. But I am optimistic. I'd give it like a 3-year window, and I think we get some finally comfortable ground where there's about 10 teams, 12 teams. I think 16 teams would probably be ideal if they could get to that point. But I like it. You know, John Cook, major news there. I thought he was kind of out of the volleyball world outside of just being a mentor to those getting into it, but not really having a full-time gig. Absolutely not sure whatsoever. He is not only a co-owner, but he is big-time dealing in everything Supernova's volleyball right now. And I believe they got their head coach as well. I'm not sure. I can't remember who it is exactly, but I know they got their head coach in place. So really just in charge of that player personnel. And that's John Cook's next chapter with the Omaha Supernovas. And I think he coached 30 years at Nebraska.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unreal time here. And obviously, I think we're all just rooting for his success with the Supernovas as well. He did a lot for us. I think we're all going to continue to root for his success in the Pro Volleyball League. Also, if he does well there, then again, that 2 to 3 year window where everything feels good, even, I think he can be a big part of that. Moving on. You want to talk a little bit of Husker football, or do you want to talk Cowboys?
I'd like to touch on the Cowboys. I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So obviously Jerry Jones, Micah Parsons, you got one of the, you're going to be hard pressed to find a better edge rusher than Parsons. He's still on that rookie deal. And then there was that option in there that Jerry Jones is where this whole thing's kind of coming down to, where he wants more money. He demanded a trade on Friday because he felt like he wasn't going to get the money. And then Jerry Jones, I think he doubled down on, I'm not going to trade you. I'm just going to ignore who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Because I'll pull up his contract details of what they're arguing, but I believe this is the rookie and then they had an extension on it, and then the option at the end, Parsons didn't have a choice. Jerry Jones was going to pick that up automatically.
Yeah, I'm gonna favor on Micah Parsons' side. He probably is asking for a tremendous amount of money, but like we've talked about, Micah Parsons is probably a top 3 edge rusher, at least maybe top 5 in the NFL. And so he's a guy that you're not going to find, every once in a while, or you can just go make a trade with another team and get a guy like that back. And as we've seen in the NFL, edge rushers that are good make an extreme impact. We've seen it with Aaron Donald, TJ Watt, and now Micah Parsons. I think that Cowboys defense struggles tremendously. I think the thing that's extremely unfortunate and just frustrating is at times Jerry Jones decides to almost just treat his players like athletes. Kind of takes away that they are human. Like he just says, like, if you're going to perform for me, I'm going to pay you what I want to pay you. And if you're not performing, I don't really care about you. I only care about you when you're performing, and I get to pay you what money I want. And maybe it's different if the Cowboys are winning a lot more games and, having huge playoff runs, but that hasn't been the case. And if we're being honest, a lot of it falls on Jerry Jones, not, being able to keep this talent and honestly have the talent he has happy.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of Jerry Jones, like devil's advocate. We can defend him. Like listening to DP's points where he did get a signing bonus on that rookie contract, so it's like they did give him extra money right at the bat, giving him that trust. And then on top of it, and I'm not sure where I land on this. Does Jerry Jones really think the Cowboys are going to win a Super Bowl next year? If the answer is no. Okay, will adding Micah Parsons to this team make it a yes? And if it's still no, I want to pay Micah Parsons all this money when I know there's no shot to win the Super Bowl, because to your point, he's going to demand insane money, and rightfully so. So I don't have the exact details, but essentially 2-time, and here's some of his stats, all 4th Pro Bowl selection straight. He's due his $24 million in the final year of his rookie contract. And obviously that's why he wants negotiations, because that seems little compared to the point of Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. You're seeing what guys like that are getting. And if you negotiate with Micah Parsons, that number is going to be huge, and you're probably not going to want to go along with it if you're Jerry Jones and you think you can't win a Super Bowl even if you sign him. Problem is, though, is like you've had him. This is the rookie contract still. Like you knew this was coming a while ago. So why didn't you trade him earlier? You would have got way more bang for your buck. You wouldn't have to deal with the contract. Bad management is kind of where I fall. It's like you can rationalize why you wouldn't want to pay him, but the fact that you're in this position is why it's sad. is
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But like you said, he's seeing these numbers of other edge rushers, Myles Garrett, and what
Yeah.
they're getting paid. TJ Watt, especially, that
Did
contract.
Crosby get a huge?
Yes, I believe so.
Crosby got paid big time as well.
Yeah. And so you just see guys like that. And Micah Parsons, honestly, he deserves that kind of money. And he is coming to an end on his rookie contract. So he's thinking, I deserve this money. And the thing that's tough about the Cowboys is they're not paying the best players that they have. So why would they expect to maybe get free agents elsewhere? When guys, become free agents on other teams and they say, oh, do I want to go to the Cowboys? Well, Jerry Jones doesn't want to pay me. And if I'm not successful there, he doesn't want anything to do with me. So I think Jerry Jones is just not putting himself in a good position to get superstars in the future if he doesn't take care of the ones that he already has.
Yeah, and we talked about this on Old School as well. Like, if you're an agent, I'm telling my guy, like, Cowboys, we're not going there. Like, that's one of the bottom ones on the list, because history's proven he's got no loyalty to you. And as soon as you're bad, he will not only not have loyalty, I mean, he'll go out on the podium sometimes and throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, he's ultimate business guy. Like, he just thinks about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way it does seem like he just looks at it as numbers, not necessarily human beings all the time. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag for me if I'm an agent. And I think that's, to your point, where it's really going to hurt. Like, if there's some superstar agents out there, you're probably at the bottom of the list more often than not.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather, would this be a fun exercise? Cowboys or Cardinals?
I think the Cardinals are going to treat me a lot better. And I think with the Cardinals, if you're not as successful per se, or you even have just some struggles, they're professional athletes, they're human, things happen in their life. You can't expect them to go out there and just be gods every single time they touch the field, right? And so an organization like the Cardinals, I think when they do get a superstar, or not that they have gotten a whole bunch recently, but if they do, I feel like they're going to take better care of you, or maybe just appreciate you a little bit more. And like you said, Jerry Jones, he'll flat out go in front of the media and say, here are my superstars. I don't think they're good. And they don't
Jerry Jones with the Kyler Murray situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was already kind of bad enough over there where it got out of hand a little bit. Putting Jerry Jones on that, you might have been even crazy. He might have just been traded already.
Yeah.
With knowing how that goes. Okay. For, again, you're max big time free agent. You can demand a lot of money. Cowboys or Cowboys or Jets?
That's a tough decision.
Yeah, there's a couple more I got. None of these are fun.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're on the Cowboys, America's team, and you're doing really well, it's got to be pretty fun. It's got to be pretty cool. So many people are appreciating what you do, and you're playing on hopefully one of the better teams in the NFL. If it's not, it's just so tough, because it goes back to, if it doesn't go well, Jerry Jones is going to hate me. He's not going to pay me. And
if it goes well, it's incredible. If it goes south, it's one of the worst places to be.
Yeah. As a superstar, though, maybe you go with the Cowboys and you just say, all right, I'm going to go ball out, and maybe just not care what Jerry Jones says. And you have a good agent that you say, hey, like, I'm not signing maybe a max contract, or I don't want to be here for long term because he's just going to get rid of me, or not, give me the respect I deserve. So I'd go with the Cowboys over the Jets, just because it's the Jets. I feel like we've seen a few careers go there to die.
I think I'd still go Cowboys on that one. Bengals, Jets, or Bengals, Cowboys.
I'd go with the Bengals.
Bengals are pretty bad too when it comes to being cheap.
Yeah, they are. That is true. I mean, Stewart had to go through that as a rookie, and they almost tried to go back to college, which is unbelievable. I think the Bengals take their time, though. They've got it right so far. They got T. Higgins back. They got Jamar Chase. If you're really a superstar there, I think they'll find a way. Like, you can get them to change their mind. I think Jerry Jones is just super stubborn to a point where he's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're Micah Parsons.
The Bengals, I think I might go Cowboys. The Bengals are kind of similar to the Cowboys, where it's like, that's your star, pay him now. Why do you guys?
Yeah, why do you have to wait? Yeah,
and then because the Higgins thing, how much time was wasted? Because they ended up, I think, just agreeing to what Higgins wanted at the very end.
Exactly.
So what was the point of all that?
Yeah,
and now your guys are at a point where you end up having to cave in. You had to give him a bunch of money. Your next step looks awfully a lot different, because you probably thought it would go your way. So, like, that's another similar situation. Like what Jerry Jones does, it's like, why do you guys wait for this stuff?
Yeah,
solve it early.
And I think another frustrating part of that too is, you're not seeing with the Bengals, and I think with the Cowboys, is you're not seeing them say, we're not going to pay you this much money. because we want to pay someone else.
Yeah.
Like we want to add a little bit more to someone else's contracts where we maybe want to add this guy to our roster. That's not what you're seeing. So I think that's the frustrating part is even if they do maybe get a guy for a little bit cheaper, they're not, getting a guy to this crazy extension max contract. You're not bringing in anyone else that makes sense to that you should be spending that money on. If you're not going to spend the money on this guy, then find someone else that you should spend that difference on.
Yep, 100% agree. Couple more teams. You said Bengals over Cowboys. Cowboy. Okay. I think I'd still go America's team, which is not great, but Cowboys or only 2 teams left. Jaguars.
Oh gosh.
You can probably guess what the last one is.
Yeah. I think I'd go with the Cowboys. We haven't seen much out of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they've had a few superstars or guys that you thought could be extremely successful, and we just have not seen that out of them. So I wouldn't trust the Jaguars too much. So I'd stick with the Cowboys.
Right. Like at least with the Cowboys, it's like they seem to have whatever you think about Jerry Jones, he seems to be the problem, not the rest of the management staff in itself. When you look at, other places, it's like like the Jaguars and the Panthers, who I'll ask you next, it's like it seems like top to bottom disorganized. One just seems like a overly micromanaging owner, but you can sometimes get around that because the rest of the management's lockstep and key. Can't say the same about the Jaguars or the Panthers. Panthers or Cowboys?
I'd go with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
The
okay.
Panthers, we haven't seen a guy really just show up on the Panthers anytime recently and just have an extraordinary career. So I think you have to stick with the Cowboys. It seems like it's maybe these just newer organizations that haven't even caught up yet. But then I think Jerry Jones is so stuck in his old ways of, hey, you perform for me, I'll pay you. But if I don't think you're good enough, you're not getting the money. The Cowboys are still the Cowboys, though. I think you got to go with them.
Well, it's exactly. Well, that's why I kind of wanted to put that out there, because it's like when we're thinking about the Cowboys, again, the teams we compared it to were the Jets, Panthers, Cardinals was probably the best one out of the bunch, and then Bengals. All teams with notoriously bad run management ownership. So it's like, it's not that the Cowboys fan base is awesome. Like for America's team being in that territory where, again, I'm not an NFL player, neither is Tristan, but if I was one, I'd be kind of wary of the Cowboys. Not because I think it's a terrible organization. It's be like, I don't know. I'm going to be, wanting to negotiate my deal, and Jerry Jones is going to be like, no, remember, that was a handshake deal.
Yeah.
That's taken care of. We'll just come to practice. We'll get you the paperwork later. And that's where Micah Parsons is upset, because he's like, I put it in pen and ink already. Like, I'm showing up to practice and we still haven't renegotiated. And now you're telling me you won't even talk to my agent. If you're Micah Parsons, what do? Do you hold out? Do you take fines? It's a tough situation if you're him.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what we've seen in the past is I don't love when guys are holding out, because you want to see the best players in the league, wanting to play for maybe something more than the money. But when you think about it, they deserve this money. And if you're Micah Parsons, you're seeing all these other guys at your position who you're just as good at, and you're the youngest out of most of the, better edge rushers in the NFL. And so he deserves to be paid. And honestly, it honestly makes Jerry Jones look a little stupid for if he somehow lets Micah Parsons, sit out, not even play, or, he does have to end up trading him. And you're just like, this guy deserves the money. We're going to see him go elsewhere, and he's going to be an absolute stud. So I don't love the idea of sitting out because you want to watch these guys play. But at the end of the day, Jerry Jones, it's not going to be a good look for him if his probably best player is not playing or even practicing for that matter.
Yeah, he probably is their best player. I mean, it's him or CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And I think CeeDee Lamb's good, but he's definitely not the best wide receiver in the league right now. And you could make an argument for Parsons, what he does on the edge is by far right now has the highest ceiling, because a lot of the guys who are getting those big time bucks are getting paid more on what they did in the past, and Parsons is still in that potential territory. So if it's not the Cowboys, whoever does pay him next, it's going to be a big number. I'll say that much. With that being said, though, we'll go ahead. We'll throw it to break here. Don't go anywhere. Might talk some more NFL on the other side, as well as some Husker football. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arns, talk to you in a bit.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartments, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomez joining me to my left. We got some Husker football audio quotes. Also, we were talking off air here, and I'm not sure it'll bleed over to the NFL, but potential of lockouts. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. There's a pitcher who's going to be demanding, hypothetically, like $800 million if the trends stayed the same. You're a bigger baseball guy. Does the possibility of a lockout seem realistic? And if so, why?
It honestly would not surprise me. I'm not sure if it will happen, but I mean, Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers is entering the end of his contract. He was a Cy Young Award winner last season, expected to be a Cy Young Award winner this year as well. Once he hits free agency, the people are talking and they're just saying, all right, he's probably going to get upwards of $500 million. He's going to get in a max extension contract probably for the rest of his career. But there's maybe 3 teams that are really going to be able to pay him that. And it's the Dodgers, Yankees, and Mets. And so it's getting to a point, especially in Major League Baseball, where it's just, all right, these large market teams can pay whatever they want. They can get the best players, and they didn't do any of the work to develop them or, build them into who they are and, trust them to be the player they are. And so it's tough for the other teams like the Royals, per se, to compete with that, because how are they going to get a real star in free agency? They're going to have to make a few trades. But when it comes down to the money aspect, they really can't compete. And
to your point, when they develop them.
Exactly. Yeah.
As soon as that contract's over, who's calling?
Yeah.
Yankees, Dodgers, take your pick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just so frustrating to see. So I wouldn't be surprised if heading into probably the 2026 MLB season, there's a little bit of a lockout, just with maybe once the offseason starts and we see what the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets are doing when they're just paying all the guys all the money that they want. And these other teams and other owners are just like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. So wouldn't be surprised. Do I think it's going to happen? Maybe not, but I think there is probably going to have to be some talks about, the salary cap and that sort.
Absolutely. It's been probably one of the most tumultuous years in terms of just paying athletes, college level NIL, like everything we're seeing from Shemar Stewart, Micah Parsons, T. Higgins, and now you got the MLB and seeing how the insanity there. And even, I talked about with the NBA, it's like you're looking at teams like with the Celtics, the insane amount of luxury tax they're paying for last year's roster, which again, you don't win when you're paying over $200 million in luxury tax. Like you're going to start hacking that roster apart because you're like, there's no way we're going to pay that much just to, they make it second round or second round. They didn't even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So huge blow for those guys. And then, like I said, on top of all the NIL and WNBA is trying to figure out as well. And, it gets to a point where you got Caitlin Clark, who's making rookie contract, I think just under $80K a year, which knowing the history of the NBA at one point in time, that might've made sense. Knowing what it is now, it's if they keep with the same contracts, Caitlin Clark can absolutely just hold out and force the league to do what she wants, especially if Paige Beckers follows her or Angel Reese, and she gets a bunch of other players. Like, you know what? Yeah, why am I paying for this tiny amount of money? You guys just put in like $250 million into the league. We're not asking for NBA salaries. We're asking for, at least 6 figures for some of those rookies, especially if you're a first round overall pick and you're under 6 figures. Like, that's a brutal spot. Now, for Caitlin Clark, it's fine because she's probably making, 50 mil off State Farm and Nike, but for everybody else, it'll help the league out. That's all I got on the potential lockout with MLB. And then what has just been a crazy year in terms of the finances of sports. Switching off gears here, I do want to talk a little bit of Husker football. We had some good quotes, Addison Williams, John Butler. We didn't get through them all yesterday. And there's a few on here I want to talk about. The first one, battles between the defensive line and offensive line. Our very own Steve Sipple asked that one at the press conference. So here is John Butler, defensive coordinator, on the competition between the defense and offense.
That's a big veteran offensive line. How would you characterize those battles between the offensive line and your D line?
I wouldn't disagree with it's not my job to give an evaluation of the offensive line, but I would say that they are big and they're good. And I think that's good for us because obviously the better competition you go against at every position across the field, the better your players are going to get. I think our offensive line does a very good job of working together as a unit. And therefore we have to combat that with how we're, whether we're executing movements, whether we're executing blitzes, whether we're playing base techniques. I think going up against a strong unit like that every day can only improve that competitive stamina you just mentioned, that toughness that we're trying to build, that physicality, because at the end of the day, I think that, if practice is the hardest thing you're doing, when you go into the games, you're going to have, an opportunity for success. So it's great that, I really feel like we're competing at a high level at every position, receivers versus DBs, running backs versus linebackers, O-line versus our front seven. I think that's been a great competitive aspect of our program over the last 8 practices that I think is just going to get us ready for the first game and then every game.
All right, so there's John Butler on that. Any thoughts about hearing a little bit of the competition between the offense and defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you want to hear, especially when it comes to the offensive line, and just how we did get a few transfers that I think are going to have a great impact, especially for Dylan Raiola. I feel like there were a few times last year we saw him running for his life a little bit or having to extend plays, which sometimes resulted in turnovers or just misreads. And so I think it's nice to hear that the offensive line is working and, has a veteran group that will be protecting Dylan. I do like that he's saying how it's making his guys better. I like how he didn't flat out just come out and say, my defensive line has been dominating this offensive line, because that's not what you want to hear. And so I think he put it into great words of just how this is a strong group that we have, protecting our running backs, our quarterbacks, and giving Dylan a little bit of time. And then, but also saying it's making our guys work even harder. So I'm happy to hear it. I'd like to hear a little bit more of just who's kind of winning that battle, maybe. But I think it was good content from him.
Yeah, tough to get that out of coaches.
Yeah.
Depth chart. Who's winning, actually? Well, they're all doing great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And they'll do that. And I understand why. They do talk about some of the leaders. We'll play that one as well. But yeah, that's what you want to hear. And I've gone on this rant before, so I'll be short about it. Like you see it with NFL preseason every year. My guy, Caleb Williams, just been getting thrashed on social media.
For no reason. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a lightning rod for that type of stuff. And it's, you throw one pick, everyone loses their mind. You throw a couple bad passes. They want to talk about all the negative stuff. They don't want to talk about the positives. But what you're seeing in that is there probably is some negative things happening. You want the defense to not just be getting destroyed. If the offense is putting up 50 points on the defense every day and Caleb Williams looks perfect and never has any, tough throws where a defender makes it, that's just not realistic. There's going to be a back and forth. And honestly, if there's less back and forth, that makes you more worried about your team as a whole. Either our defense really stinks or we got an amazing offense, but more likely the defense just isn't very good.
Yeah.
Or the offense just isn't very good. The best teams, that 95 team, talking to Jay Foreman and all the guys who got to play on that, what was the practices like? There's some days the defense would kick their tail, some days the offense would win. That's usually a sign of a pretty good team there. So that's all I said. That's my quick rant on that. Let's hear more from, and this one's Addison Williams, again, defensive back coach, obviously taking over for John Butler since John Butler's been elevated to that defensive coordinator spot. And here's him talking about some of the emerging leaders on this defensive side of the ball, and in particular, his defensive backs room.
I would say it's multiple guys. Deshaun is being more vocal than what he has been in the past, which is good to see. Marquise, he's always been a vocal guy, so he's doing a good job as well. And there's a couple of the other guys that we're trying to, push to do a little more. Malcolm, he's a really quiet guy, but I do see Malcolm at times pulling guys off to the side and coaching them up, so that's definitely a step in the right direction. And then Sierra is another guy that is emerging as a leader in that room, and he does the same thing as Malcolm, pulling guys off to the side, and he's also becoming a bit more vocal in front of the room as well. So I would say those 4 guys are the ones that are standing out as leaders.
So you have it right there. I'll tell you what, the DB room gets me excited every time. Between Hartzog, who I think the biggest thing for him was just making the play. He did a pretty good job being where he's supposed to be. There's one play, I think it was Minnesota, that I could point out where he just totally was not in the right position whatsoever. He lost his guy, but he's pretty young at that point. He's gotten to a point where he's just got to go ahead and make the play. He's usually in pretty good positioning. Sierra Wright, even some of the young guys, you've seen some promising things. And then the veterans, you feel great about Singleton being there again. And then Buford being there as well. When you hear that, the leaders, and in particular with those DBs, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, especially because I think that's just the strong suit of our defense, with just the kind of loss on the defensive line last year. And, trying to have someone on the defense that really can just get the most out of everyone and are also your playmakers, I think is huge. So I'm excited for Deshaun, Sierra, Hartzog. Those are going to be guys that are going to be fun to watch because they're not only going to make plays, but they're going to get the most out of, the guys that are in front of them. when it comes to the linebackers and the defensive line. I think that's great to hear, and hopefully we really see that this year.
It might just be the leaders of the entire defense itself, that defensive backs room. Here's more Addison Williams on it.
Like I said, the one that I would say probably speaks out the most is Marquise. He's one that speaks out the most, and he has command. He really do. The guys respect him, and I think that's because of the way that he work and just what he's been through his time here. And when he's on the field, he's a productive player. Deshaun is one that we're still just grooming in that role, and he's definitely coming out his shell, and I think he'll be one that'll be able to lead us this year as well.
So yeah, but he goes out Marquise Buford and then Singleton again as well. Buford, to me, is no surprise. He kind of feels like he's set up to have an awesome season. And biggest thing is just getting turnovers, takeaways. The guy that was the biggest thing from a lot of these guys, not just last year, where they just can't make the play at the end. That USC game sticks out like a sore thumb. What is that to you with our defensive backs and our safeties, where they just have been right position, haven't been able to make the plays? That confidence coaching, where do you fall on that?
I think it's a confidence aspect, and maybe they haven't been, coached to a point where when those big plays happen, it's, hey, go make this play, get this interception, go up, steal that ball. Maybe it's been a lot of, hey, break up this pass, don't let the big play happen. And so they're almost out there playing not to fail, instead of going out there to make the big play, going out there to play to succeed. So I think when you have this good of a position group, you got to let them go out and just ball out. Because the more turnovers they're bringing, the more time that the ball's in Dylan Raiola's hand and the offense can go make plays. So I'm a fan of how he's just, said that they are leaders. And this group led Nebraska in tackles last year. You would think it was the linebacker room. No, it's your DBs. It's your secondary. That's one making tackles. So you can trust them in that aspect. But now when the ball goes in the air, let's have them be the guys that are making those plays, getting the ball back, and just changing the game for the Skurs.
Yeah, especially if you're going to run that 3-3-5. Like, there's going to be some added pressure for you guys, and that's where you kind of get those tackles. They have to come downhill a lot more. Gifford really racked up a lot of those, I know, and that's kind of, if you're going to be put in that position's defense, you got to kind of have that tenacity. Even Gifford at times, he struggled occasionally. Pretty good open field tackler, but his biggest thing for me again was like, could you get the turnover and make the massive momentum shift play? But otherwise, he was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. He was great to have in our backfield. And who led the team in tackles last year?
I think it was Gifford.
It was Gifford,
yeah. And then Deshaun was second as a corner, which is crazy.
So feel really good about those guys.
Exactly. Super excited for Deshaun and just this whole defensive backs room. I think it'd be really cool to see this group just lead the Skurs, lead the defense. I think we saw a lot of that from the defensive line. Now the secondary is going to take control. And if they can turn teams into a one-dimensional offense where they're forced to run the ball, then that's going to be great for Nebraska. Because if teams aren't throwing it, because they're afraid, all right, we have to throw to these corners, these safeties that, are ball hawks, and we can't do it, then all Nebraska has to do is stop the run. That's going to win them a lot of football games.
And that's been the strength of this defense so far, has their ability to stop the run. We've actually been struggling in the pass defense a little bit more. Last year, we really had no problem stopping the run. I can't think of a team that really had their way in terms of just running the ball down our throat outside of Indiana. And theirs was more bubble screens on the outside, not necessarily straight up the middle. Now you're losing some big pieces there. So that's going to be a challenge and stuff. But if you trust the coaching's proven that they know how to develop guys. I guess it's not Tony White, but you added Terry Brad in, and now you got John Butler, who is in-house, and then Phil Snow. I think Phil Snow is like associate head coach. I think he's defensive coach.
Yeah.
At least my mind. I could be wrong. He obviously has some input on like other things, but I think for the most part, really dialing in on that defense. So the defense, front seven, I think it's that spot where everyone still feels a little bit weak. Matt Rule's trying to walk everybody off the cliff. John Butler, same thing. You're hearing confidence. Yeah, let's go back. We're at a point where we want to believe it, but we got to verify it.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to say you're lying to me, but I'm also not going to say I believe every word, because I got to start seeing it on Saturdays or in this upcoming case on a Thursday night game. But super exciting nonetheless to kind of hear those positive things. I know it's off season, but at the same time, coaches aren't going to just randomly call off certain players just because they have an opportunity to coach speak. There's always a little bit of truth in there, no matter if it's, some coach speak or not. I think he is absolutely telling the truth when he talks about guys like Marquise Buford and Deshaun Singleton in particular. I mean, I can't think of other leaders on that defense. You can go to the linebacker room, I think, if you wanted to, but
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Deshaun McCullough, transfer from Oklahoma. I've heard just really good things about him, that he's a big physical guy, going to make some tackles, and also just be an athletic freak. So hopefully we see a little bit more out of the linebackers room and him in general. And so I think this defense is something to be excited about.
I think so too. I don't think it's one of those where is it as good as last year? I'm not entirely sure. I think we had a couple of years of being a top 25 defense, which is really impressive. But I'm not expecting like a major fall off. You know, like maybe we struggle a little bit more stopping the run, but hopefully we're a lot more locked down on the passing game. So if it's trade off, that's still a top 20 defense. If you can, and now if there's a little bit of a fall, you just don't want to be a monster fall. You can win a lot of games. You can probably still get to 8, maybe even 9 if you're in that 30 to 40 defense, 30 to 50. Now we're stretching a little bit, but I do think that defense will, at the very worst case scenario, a couple steps back from what it was last year. Not any sort of downfall. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. We got one more segment with Tristan Gomes on the other side. Harrison Arens, run the board. Don't go anywhere.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also, no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, at least between here and me and Tristan on Ticket Weeknights. We'll have more for you later throughout the night. We still got the Royals on the brick and mortar, and the Royals might actually be able to pull out their first win within this series alone here. Currently up 3-2 over the Boston Red Sox, entering the top of the sixth inning. With that being said, let's talk some more college football. Dabo Swinney, he's confident. 16-0.
Yeah.
Would be the first 16-0 team ever, obviously due to the playoffs extension. He did it once at 15-0. Your thought? Well, actually, let me get some of his actual quotes here because he wasn't holding back. Here's his exact quote. I had one undefeated team in 2018. We were the first 15-0 team in history of major college football ever. And I think we're going to be the first 16-0 team. It's a race to do that. Where's your belief that they can't be the first team to be 16-0?
I'm not super high on it. I like the confidence, though. I think that's what you want to hear from your head coach. Everyone wants to believe that they're going undefeated. I don't love that take. And I was thinking about this just when you first sent me this. I was like, who had a chance to go 16-0 last year? And it was Oregon. And you had to think, so they played Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. That did not go well whatsoever. But you would have to think Oregon would have had to beat Ohio State. Then they would have had to beat Texas. And then they would have had to beat Notre Dame. And so when you think of, all right, they're in the ACC, this was my thought, is maybe they can go undefeated in the ACC, and then they'll make the college football playoff. But once you get to the college football playoff, you have a gauntlet of games, and they open up with LSU at home, but that's still a big-time matchup, and LSU is going to come in there ready and just swinging. So I don't love the take. I love the confidence. Don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I trust them with the regular season. I think, because who did you pick between Clemson and LSU?
I think I picked LSU.
Okay.
I think I have a little SEC bias, or maybe I just.
It's in Baton Rouge as well. So
is it in Baton Rouge, or is it in? I think it's in Death.
You're right. It
Clemson.
Is Death Valley.
Yeah, I mean both are Death Valley, but I think it's in Clemson. Yeah,
I forget the Battle of the Death Valleys. So it's in Clemson's Death Valley, not in Baton Rouge. So I actually would go Clemson with that one. If they had to play at LSU, I'd be a little more concerned. But otherwise, I think they can get through their conference schedule. I mean, you're looking at SMU. Florida State, I don't think.
Do they have Miami on there?
No, I don't think.
No
Miami.
So
toughest games are probably South Carolina, LSU.
I mean, South Carolina is another tough game for them too.
A final one of the regular season as well. And
where's that one at?
That one's in South Carolina as well.
Yeah,
and South Carolina might be one. That might be team number 4 in the SEC race. It's a lot of it's going to depend on. Well, not really. I just think South Carolina always plays hard. Beamer's a pretty good coach when it comes to getting his guys to play, and I think Sellers staying around is a pretty good sign for that coaching staff and how well those guys believe in the process. So, even if it's not a smooth finish, if there's a possibility of a decent bowl game, you're going to get a really locked in South Carolina. And if you're Clemson, you don't want to have that hangover of we're undefeated right now. Even if we drop this one, not that big of a deal. Now, based on what Dabo Swinney did, I don't think he's going to let his guys think for a second that they're going to drop a game, but regular season, I could see it happening especially if they can beat LSU, but they get it at home, so that helps a lot. And then finish the year, South Carolina. One of the weird schedules where the first and last game are the toughest ones in there. And then postseason, that's where I agree. Sorry, I got to pick Clemson to win it all if I go that route. And I'm not sure if I'm willing to go that far.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool to see that they are playing two, high caliber SEC teams. So if we do get to the college football playoff, they are undefeated. They've beaten LSU. They've beaten South Carolina. Maybe they do it. Maybe they have a shot to, just run the table and win the whole thing. But like you said, I don't know if I want to choose them as my national champion, especially when there's teams like Texas, Georgia, we got Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. I think it'd be tough to really think Clemson's going to pull it off. Going to see some really good quarterback play week 1 with Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. So that'll be fun to see, but I'm not super high on the Clemson Tigers going 16-0.
No, and that's not because I don't like Clemson. It's just like pick any team.
Yeah.
You could say that about Ohio State, and I'd be like, no.
I mean, even last year, they won it all. They lost 2 games, right?
Exactly.
So it's tough to go undefeated, and especially when the college football playoffs come around, everyone's going to be bringing their A game. You got to beat the best Texas. You got to beat the best version of Ohio State. You got to beat some really good teams. I don't know if Clemson has it in them.
It feels like the separation's never been shorter before. Like there's gaps between the best of the best, but they aren't as big as they used to be. Like again, I hate always using this example, but it's kind of like telling, like, even the fact that a school like Northern Illinois can go beat that Notre Dame team, like they don't have any business doing so, whatever. But Marshall did that the year before as well in a huge upset. And then I'm trying to think of other major upsets that happened last year. But even with the top dogs, like,
I mean, Ohio State loses to Michigan on a down year. I mean, it's just any given Saturday.
Well, and even like you're watching Penn State, like they should roll through these early games. Like they should have no chance. They got SMU. SMU was giving them a little bit of a trouble, and it really wasn't until Penn State's defense just kind of shut the door. But
yeah. I mean, same thing with Arizona State playing Texas. I totally thought that was going to be the biggest blowout of the college football playoff or the second round, essentially, and they competed.
It was the best game in the entire set. Well,
you could argue that.
I think it probably was the best game.
Yeah,
because it was such an upset. So the separation. So again, that just all make it that 16-0 becomes just that much more of a nightmare. Final thing, and then we'll get out of here. We don't have time for it, but WWE partnering up with ESPN, very narrative-based thing. The WWE is. They're good at building stories, getting people to care and believe. Some people are 70, still believing like everything. They're fantastic at it. And then also you have the people who just, it's like watching a soap opera. Like you understand the script, but
it's a story,
a hell of a story. So people get engaged with it. What I think is going to happen is, again, it's going to bleed all over. So don't just think WWE and ESPN. Think ESPN partnering with the narratives that the WWE is so good at creating. We'll probably see more access. We'll probably see some more similar stuff like Hard Knock or like a deeper dive. So with that being said, is there because I think it would bleed into college football as well. If you could do a Hard Knocks for any college football team, obviously it doesn't have to be the exact version of what the NFL Hard Knocks is. What would be the team you'd be most intrigued of seeing like a deep dive narrative that they probably want, you'd have to wait till the season starts. They're not going to drop it, early. Well, which team would that be?
Are you saying for this season or
for this season? Yep.
I'm going to go with Georgia. I think they had a little bit of a down year, but I would love to see what like a Kirby Smart led team looks like with just the success that they've had in the past. It would have been really cool if there was a Hard Knocks previously and we could have seen a Nick Saban Alabama compared to a Kalen DeBoer Alabama. I think that would have been really cool. But for one team this year, I'd have to go with Georgia and just see how he gets his guys ready for games and then also responds from last season.
I think that'd be a phenomenal one. Honestly, Ryan Day, just because the culture they have over there, like I feel like I'd turn that one on and, it'd be like halfway watching a Catholic mass. Like for how that team's culturally built these days, it'd just be really interesting to see what to dive in on. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, see what he's cooking over there. I think biased answer, Nebraska is interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, to see, do you really believe it? Final one, I think Indiana last year.
That would have been really
They
cool.
would have never picked Indiana.
But no one would have thought of Indiana.
It would have been incredible to see Kurt Signetti. And even, after they got waxed by Notre Dame, like to see it's like, you regret being so cocky in front of Nick Saban? Because like Nick Saban was even like, I didn't coach up like that, talking all that trash in pregame.
I like it. I mean, in order to believe it, you got to do it. You got to act the way. Kurt Signetti acts the part, but he won until the playoffs came around. But
he's going to be good.
He's going to be really good.
Believe that he's going to be a solid head coach.
So going back to it, hopefully we get a college football Hard Knocks. We get a little bit more storyline through ESPN. That'd be pretty cool.
I think it'd be wonderful. Unsurprising. I love the partnership. I think that only means more access for everybody who loves not just football, NFL. I mean, it's going to spread, I think, pretty far and wide in terms of giving us more access to our favorite athletes, teams, and coaches. Appreciate you guys listening. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep some replays going for you, and I'll hop on solo right here on Ticket Weeknights.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family.